Dan,
Pablo?
this is weird.
Yeah.
Normally we're running.
Yeah. I feel
Chatting.
like we should run right now.
Well, the
Now that
original
you just set all this up.
the original idea was to record this while we're running.
We could still do that.
Definitely no video.
Yeah. That'd be a little awkward.
So I just learned how to do all of this. So now I'm kind of like in the moment wanting to do this. So
Yeah.
thank you for coming over,
course.
hanging out.
Happy to see your process.
Yeah, and look at the wonderful chairs that are both
I know.
broken.
I would like it to be known that I originally took the one broken chair because I wanted to be a polite guest, and then yours broke. So.
Well, shit happens.
Oh, and there's a dog here.
And what's her name again?
Marlene.
Marlene. I want to say Margaret.
Marlene,
Marlene, come here.
Come here. You're sitting so nicely during the whole
All right, so who is this?
setup.
Who is Marlene?
Marlene is a foster dog from the ASPCA who I've had for 2.5 months, and I'm going back and forth on adopting.
I say you should not adopt.
Yeah.
Dogs are work.
I know. I mean, it's been a journey, but
And she's 4 years
pretty
old?
great. 4.5.
4.5.
She's pretty great, though. I've been taking her to open mics with hearing protection. It's pretty funny.
See, it's just too much work. And maybe I'm just selfish and have no heart, but it's not worth it at the end of the day.
You are, yeah.
So I really wanted to have you on because, one, we always have like the best conversations when we're running.
Glad to
and
hear
it's
it.
hard to replicate that.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the conversations that we have are around, I don't know, belief systems of ideologies and
Philosophies
how
and
nothing really matters.
yeah.
Which is like the best thing in the world and also the worst thing in the world, right? Because if you think that nothing matters in this universe, then why do anything?
Right.
Or you can go the opposite way and be like, if nothing matters, why not
do it? Right.
make the best of it and enjoy it?
Yeah, I think that's, I don't remember if it's a quote from somewhere, but it's like, why not is as valid of a question as why, you know?
That sounds like someone like getting drunk and just
Yeah.
spitting out wisdom that nobody wants or needs.
I think it was my friend from middle school who said that I think his mom took a philosophy course in college, and their final assignment was to write an essay, and the prompt of the essay was why, with a question mark. That was the entire thing. And everybody else in her class wrote down for the entire time, whatever, 45 minutes that they got, and she handed hers in with just why not, and she got an A.
Holy shit.
So,
Is that a true story?
if it's true that I heard that from
It's true that you
my
heard
friend.
it.
Whether or not that's true from his mouth,
Yeah.
that's on his conscience, not mine.
Yeah, I think that this is and I'll do a quick intro for you real quick, but I think that that's the essence of life, right? Is determining what matters and why it does or doesn't matter. And then once you kind of figure that out a little bit, it's so technically easy, right? Like if you live in a place like America where you do have opportunity, we have hot water, we have shelters, we have everything. We're privileged to have that opportunity to be like, what do I want to do? Is it the same for everybody? No.
Right.
But you still have that ability, right? Versus being born in Gaza where you're like, all right, let's see if I can make it to 1 year without getting bombed, you know? But
Right.
anyways, I love your shit because one, you're a musician and your open mics are always incredible.
Oh, thank you.
I respect all musicians, well, most musicians, because I do think that that is the most prominent and most impressive sign of intelligence.
Oh.
Because music requires so many elements and there are no strict rules. And yet you can make something that people are like, ooh, I want more. Math has rules. Physics has rules, even though sometimes they get broken.
Yeah.
But what does music have? It's just do people like it? Yes or no?
Right. I mean, there are technically rules in
No,
music.
they're not.
Like,
Don't ruin my whole speech like that.
well, yeah, I guess I kind of undermine your speech. But,
Yeah, it's all right.
But
I'm
most
used to
people
it.
don't follow them in the same way that you don't follow them in the same way that you follow rules for math or physics.
What is a rule in music?
Well, there's rules in music theory, like in
Okay.
sort of classical music. There's rules on how things are composed in order to make them sound the best way. There's rules in jazz music, and the famous, sort of the famous saying is you learn the rules to break them. Specifically in jazz too, they're big on that. They're like, you got to learn the rules, and then you can break the rules. Because jazz is also all about breaking the rules. It's kind of funny in a way. There's a lot of music like that, especially in jazz, where the whole, a lot of its identity is that it bends the rules to begin with, but then it sort of ends up creating its own rules in a way. So
Inevitably, right?
yeah, it's strange. I mean, I'm no accomplished jazz musician by any means. I just studied it as part of my curriculum, and then I utilize it, but I don't consider myself like a jazz musician.
This is why I like talking to you, because you know everything.
Oh,
And
no.
anytime I say something stupid, you correct me, tell me that I'm dumb,
Yeah, that's exactly.
and then
what
you
I just
lay it
did.
out on why I'm dumb, which is really humbling, because it reminds me that I know absolutely nothing.
Well, I mean, I guess I'm flattered that you think that I know everything. If you got
Maybe
that
that's
from
just a
that.
sign of how little I know stuff. No, but it's
Was
very.
that the Dunning-Kruger effect, I think?
What is that?
That's where you, there's like I hope I'm getting that right, where there's sort of this very short curve where once people know a little bit about a subject, they think they know everything. But then once they learn a little more, there's like this drop off
The
of,
realization.
oh yeah,
that
I actually don't know anything.
There's so much more.
So you could usually tell how much someone knows, like by how confident they are. It's usually like, if you're that confident, you're probably just starting to learn about this.
That's actually a really good point. I was watching a TED Talk, and the guy goes up and he's just like, 1 in 5 Americans suffer from yada, 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 and blah, 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 right? And then 2 minutes later, he's like, everything I just said is complete bullshit. I made everything up. But all of you bit and
Right.
were engaged. Why? Because I was so confident
Right.
in how I delivered it, expressed it, gave facts to back it up or whatever it was, and yeah,
It's very easy to be gullible.
maybe I'm gullible.
I'm sure I am too. I mean,
See, this is why I
think
like.
it-
Okay, so
Yeah.
going back, so you're a musician. I respect the shit out of that. What's the name of your last album?
The moment we hold. The moment we hold.
The Moment We Hold, and that's
Yeah.
when you had the whole venue to play it.
I had the release party show, whatever, that you attended and
Yeah,
took pictures of.
I wanted to make it the biggest event in the world,
Yeah.
and you don't like that.
No. Well, I waited, I think, until 2 days before it to really even post about it on
Yeah.
social media. And part of that too was because, I mean, in my defense, I was not feeling great leading up to it, just sickness wise. And so I was thinking, am I going to have to cancel this? Am I going to wake up with
That would've been
a
some
sore
shit.
throat? So I didn't want to, because I've had to go through that where I hyped up a show and then at the last minute it was canceled for reasons out of my control, and then I had to
Text everybody.
because I told everyone
apologize.
through 5 different ways.
Yeah.
So I was just a little wary, but I think it was a good turnout in the end.
Well, yeah, you filled up half of a giant coffee/restaurant
Yeah,
shop.
dear mama.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
But in addition to your music, you're addicted to running to a certain extent.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would say addicted, at least not these days, but
Well, you were certainly addicted when I met you.
yeah, I'm addicted to joining run groups. Because there was a time where I was going to 3 or 4 different groups a week, and I'm part of probably 5 or 6. When I say part, I mean like I've gone to them and I've met people in them, and they would recognize me if I went back there. But
what is the benefit, or what do you enjoy about going to run clubs?
well, the socializing is probably the biggest part, and the not to sound too cheap, but the free socializing, because when you live in Manhattan, you take what you could get in terms of socializing without
Spending
dropping
money.
$100 every night.
Yeah.
And I first got into run groups, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago or something, when I sort of fell into the role of leading a run group when I was barely a runner at that time. And it really changed my mentality, because before that I just thought running was a completely solo thing for me. That's what I liked about it. I liked just getting out there, getting in my own head and just, zoning out, which I still did for a while. But then once I led that run group those years ago, I noticed that I just got to be a much better runner, because I was then not so focused on, I was distracted by the conversations I had with people, kind of like when we're talking. You know, I think there's a lot of times where we'll have a conversation and we'll both end up running probably longer or faster than either of us intended, because you just sort of lock in, and then
you lose track of what you're actually doing, which is running.
Right.
And you just engage in the conversation.
Yeah, so the social aspect, and also once I started working fully remotely in 2018, it was just my way of getting out of my apartment, just making sure that I was still maintaining a social life while working pretty much entirely by myself.
Would you say that working from home overall is like a detrimental aspect? Like if you don't have an office to go into?
If you don't have an office, detrimental. I think it depends on the person, and it probably depends on the job. For me, I love working from home, but I tend to err on the more introverted side most of the time, and that's just kind of where I feel like I'm in my element, where I'm able to just focus, do what I need to do without too much going on around me. And I feel as though I'm able to socialize adequately outside of work. And I think for someone, maybe if you live somewhere that there's not a lot going on outside of where people go to work, I'm sure that would definitely take more of a toll on me if I didn't have these running groups or the open mics as my social outlets. It would be difficult.
Benefit of the Manhattan price is having access to a million things.
Yeah, there is a reason that things are, a bit expensive.
Yeah. Okay, so musician, runner, and then how would you describe yourself in terms of like philosophy and all that good stuff, right? Because I'm always coming up to you and being like, oh man, this happened and it made me feel like shit, blah, 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 blah. And then you always pull out some like weird wisdom from like God knows where.
Yeah.
How did you get to that point where you can actually just conceptualize and just being whole as opposed to like most people, in my opinion?
Yeah. Well, again, I'm flattered that you're calling it wisdom.
Did I say wisdom?
You did.
Damn. Okay.
I'm never gonna forget that.
Yeah. Holding on to that forever.
Well, yeah. I mean, these days, as you know, we've talked a lot about like Buddhist philosophy is a big thing for me. It's been just very helpful as a framework for life. especially in the last maybe 5-6 years for me in particular. I'd always been kind of passively interested in it growing up, just because Buddhism as a concept just seemed very interesting to me. You know, I was originally raised Catholic, and then we've had conversations about that for entire runs where, you know, around college age which tends to be the case with a lot of people. You start to maybe question what you were raised with, and being away from home just kind of gave me a chance to take a step back and really see what, you know, how I saw the world and how these different religions fit within what I was actually experiencing firsthand, rather than what I was just raised with. And yeah, Buddhism or just kind of Eastern philosophies in general were always very, it all just seemed very pragmatic to me. Like it all seemed very grounded. But I'd always still viewed it as more of a religion, whereas like there's debates on whether you would even consider Buddhism a religion or a philosophy. And it wasn't until I really started deep diving into it, and once I started connecting it to mental health, is when it really took off as like a guiding sort of philosophy for me.
So you know how little I know about anything. How would you describe Buddhism, like in the shortest form, right? Because you just literally said some people see it as a religion.
Yeah.
Is it really a religion? Is it more philosophy?
Right.
What is kind of like the key elements, right? Because like most religions, it's like, all right, you have a deity, rules to follow in order to get to heaven, you know, avoid hell, X, Y, Z, right? Does Buddhism have those features?
It has features that can be seen as similar to that, but it has a very different intention behind it. So if I were to just try to summarize it again, I mean, I'm not an expert, you know, this is all just...
You're the expert in my world,
right? In this room, maybe in this room, but...
unless Marlene knows something that
Marlene probably knows more than me. But I think there's a quote from somewhere in the Buddhist suttas, the scriptures, the writings, whatever, where the Buddha said, I teach stress and the end of stress. And that's pretty much what it comes down to, is that it's like a framework for living a life in a way that reduces unnecessary stress and just sees things exactly as they are and accepting things as they are and not taking things personally. Because a lot of people will, you know, I think that was where that came from, was people asking the Buddha, like, what does everything mean? Why are we here? Is there a God? Is there a heaven? Is there an afterlife? Blah, 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 blah. And he basically just said, like, you know, chill. I don't concern myself with that stuff. Like, all I teach is like, there is stress and suffering in life, and I teach how to basically extinguish that stress and suffering. And that's it.
I think what you just touched on is something that we talk about all the time. The human ego.
Yeah.
Something happens and you attach yourself to it.
Yeah.
Even if it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
And that act alone will put you in stress.
Yeah. That's kind of one of the foundational things taught in Buddhism, is that attachment to the self is the cause of a good chunk, most if not all, of the unnecessary suffering that we experience. or the avoidable suffering, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, because I used to yell at a lot of friends who get stressed out about things that are occurring in the world.
Right.
I'd be like, should you care? Maybe, I don't know, right? But should you lose sleep over it? Should you yell at someone over it? That's. I find it hard to do that.
Right.
Because it's like, if I'm upset that down the street there's a hungry kid, and then I yell at someone and be like, man, that kid is so hungry. What does that do for the kid?
Right, it doesn't do anything. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, and I think, that's a wise thing to recognize, but it's a hard thing to recognize, especially in today where we are always connected to everything, on the internet. And
yeah,
we've also talked at length about social media and how
it's the best thing ever. They
Right.
should have invented it a long time ago.
We should have had it if it was in the Buddhist time, man.
Everyone would have been found peace.
Yeah.
You know?
But yeah, it's, we live in a time where you open your phone up and you can see, you could learn about people who were killed across the world within, 15 minutes of it happening.
Yeah.
And it can be difficult to, to navigate that when you're as a species, we evolved just in a tribal kind of culture where you only were concerned about the people in your tribe, which is whatever, it's something like 100, 150 people. I think there's also a number in psychology, I forget, about the number of people you could kind of hold in your knowledge before you just start
you're
forgetting people.
Inner circle, kind of.
Yeah, I forget. I know there's a psychiatrist who figured that out, but I think it harkens back to basically the fact that we evolved just having to worry about a set number of people our entire lives. You had the people in the tribe who were hunters and gatherers, the people who took care of the kids, the people who, and everybody had their job, everybody took care of each other, and if there was an issue with someone, then you dealt with it then and there. It was all there.
And that's what you taught me maybe last summer or whatever about. I would always find it funny that people cared so much about being liked or saying the right thing or behaving the right way.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that is so weird. Man, this chair sucks.
Mine's all right.
But yeah, I always found it so weird. I was like, man, why do people care? Do you. Some people will like it, some people won't.
Yeah.
Move on. And then you said, well, that was a survival tactic.
Yeah.
That we evolved with.
Yeah, I mean, to me, what you just said is a superpower to me. To be able to have that mentality, I really admire that. To be able to just be whatever, people are going to think what they think. I think that is a superpower because, in the same way, kind of tying back to what we were talking about with the ego and attachment to the self, worrying about what other people think of you is one of the quickest ways to be miserable. But it's so deeply ingrained in us because, as I was saying, when we're evolved for, hundreds of thousands of years in that sort of tight-knit group community, then suddenly there's this explosion of technology and civilization and society. And now fast forward to here, and we still pretty much have the same brains that we've had for all those years. I mean, maybe it's a little bit different at this point, but more or less the same brains, and yet we now feel like we have to keep track of millions of people rather than a few hundred. And so, back in the day, if you did something dumb or, did something that got your tribe to not like you for some reason, and if it was for whatever reason irreparable and you were kicked out of the tribe, you would die.
Yeah.
Because like that, your tribe was your survival.
Yeah, you're not going to survive alone in the wilderness.
Yeah. And so it literally is coded in us that people not liking us equals we might get kicked out and die. And so that's why you can go and, you know, give a comedy routine or go up there and play music, something with like no consequence whatsoever. Like if you were to totally bomb, you know, like, yeah, you would be embarrassed, but nothing, you would still be able to, you know, go home and eat dinner. You'd still be able to talk to your friends, whatever, go to sleep in a bed that night. But our nervous system, it literally thinks, I'm about to get, you know, attacked by a bear, or I'm about to get attacked by a tiger. And so I got to make sure, you know.
It is, One, for the record, you said I have a superpower, so I just want to make sure that's clear.
Yeah.
Talk about
put
ego.
It in writing if you want.
Yeah, talk about ego. You know, like, I feel good. No, but the coping mechanism is literally having people around you that understand you, right?
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of having such a large society, especially in New York, right? You can be weird in another town.
Right.
You come to New York and you'll find that weird subgroup somewhere.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you have community, right? So we're spoiled here in New York that no matter where you go, you're gonna find a community 99% of the time.
Yeah, you just have to know where to look.
We are spoiled with that here.
And that's, you know, just to bring up philosophy and Buddhism again, there was another, I think another teaching in Buddhism where someone asked him, you know, is it true that friends are half of the path of Buddhism? Because there's like, this person had heard that half of the path of gaining enlightenment is your friends or your community. And he responded with, basically, don't ever say that again. It's the entirety of the path. So even at that time, like 2,500 years ago, it was recognized that having what he called, I think Kalyanamita, I think is the term for it, which basically means wise spiritual friends, which doesn't necessarily mean like Buddhist friends or religious friends. It just means someone who it has the wisdom, you know, has enough wisdom where you feel safe talking to them, expressing your true feelings, and knowing that you're going to be seen and heard by them. If you can have even a small group of that, that's where a lot of the coping really can come from. Like that's
damn. That whole little like it is the path, right? And I've said this a million times. I am one of the luckiest people on this planet because I've got like a good core of friends where it's like whether it be financial, emotional, relationship, professional, whatever the topic is. Hey man, you get like 20 minutes. I need to like vent. Or I need advice.
Right.
Or whatever it is. And so I've never been in a situation where I can't talk about something. Which is why I always liked our runs.
Yeah.
Because even if nothing bad happened, right? I would just go up to you and be like, man, so they're going to release some UFO files, and I think aliens are real. And then next thing you know, you're like, yeah, you know, there's this theory about energy and blah, blah, blah. And scientifically, if this was true, you would have already seen evidence and blah, blah. And it's like, but having that free connection, right, in itself is just, humans are social creatures.
Right.
If we don't have that,
it's important.
Your mind might start going somewhere else.
Yeah.
Or you take it out on something else, like an unhealthy habit, like drinking or whatever. Not that I don't drink, but. Yeah.
well, I also think another advantage that we have, you know, I think everything is kind of is a double-edged sword. Like with the fact that we have such large communities now, it can be difficult in the sense that now there's so many people to keep track of. But on the other hand, there is the ability to find certain people for certain needs, as opposed to needing to put all of the needs into one or a couple of people, which is what I think a lot of people try to do, especially when it comes to relationships. You know, there's this idea that a friend or a partner has to be able to provide everything. And, you know, we've talked a little bit about how the bar is so incredibly high in relationships now, that, you know, it's like if there's one little thing about you that doesn't meet someone's need, it's like you get tossed to the side.
You're not good enough, you know?
And I've said, like, you know, I'm not above that either. I've fallen into that too. Like, I have, you know, gotten out of very short-term relationships that I've had just because there was one little thing that didn't feel right to me. I mean, that's kind of my own thing that I have to work through. But as a society, I just think that's very prevalent. Mm-hmm. But we live in a time where we don't have to do that. Like, you know, we could have our conversations about philosophy or whatever, and like I might have another friend who I wouldn't want to talk about that stuff with, and that's okay. Like, we talk about, you know, whatever. We talk about music, or we talk about programming, or, you know, computers, and then this other person talk about, you know, whatever, building something out of like little electronics
and that creates a holistic human, right?
Yeah.
And I think that, and I'm just putting words in your mouth or into the Buddhist mouth, but I think when you become holistic, you become comfortable. And when you become comfortable, you find joy. And when you find joy, the last thing you want to do is hurt anyone. Mm-hmm. You find peace. Yeah. You find comfort in the little things, value in the little things. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what enlightenment means or anything like that. But if you can get to that point.
Yeah, like contentment, basically. Even like I would even hesitate to use the word comfort, just because I think a lot of times we can crave comfort and think that if we're not comfortable, something is wrong. Which can also, I mean, I say that as if I thought of that. I mean, that was, I think there's a book by Pema Chodron that I read. I think it was like Comfortable with Uncertainty or The Wisdom of No Escape. One of those two. She's this great Buddhist nun who has a really great way of communicating these sort of complex topics in very readable ways. And one of them is about comfort and how our relationship to it. Marlene, come here. Don't knock the stuff over.
Please. Please don't.
Is, in other words, like, obviously it's okay to be comfortable. I mean, it's great. Celebrate being comfortable. But like, if it's like, I need to be comfortable, that just becomes another aspect of craving. Whereas like, if you could think of it more as content, like if, you know, okay, equalized with the world around you. Mm-hmm. And it's so, there's a state of like I'm blanking on what the label of this type of state is, but there's equanimity within Buddhism, the state of equanimity, where it basically means you're good. You know, you're here, something happens, something bad happens, you know, you acknowledge it and you tend to it, but you're not thrown off course by it. You're like, you kind of stay riding the wave. And I think that is closer to when you start talking about things like enlightenment, is when you get to that sort of state, rather than just like, oh, I'm comfortable, I'm happy, I'm good. Because that's, like everything else, is fleeting. It's impermanent. Comfort is, you know, I was comfortable in this chair for 5 minutes, now I'm horribly uncomfortable. And no, actually, it's still not that bad.
This is the best furniture I could afford. And it's also a little old.
I'm worried about you falling through that.
Dude, yeah, this one's not the best.
It's actually a little worse than that. But anyway, so that's, yeah, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think again, this is where I don't know. I get looked at weird when I talk about humans because it almost sounds like I'm not a human, right?
Yeah.
But I love observing humans.
Yeah.
And seeing what makes them uncomfortable, what makes them laugh, what makes them happy, right? And it can be like, I'm not a big candy person, but then I can see someone like pull out a Kit Kat and they're like, oh, fuck yeah. You know, and it's like,
And you're
whoa.
like, that's interesting.
That's it? Like, that's all it took was a little candy and they're happy? Like,
well, yeah, and I think that's also, you know, that might be another superpower of yours that you want to be human too, right? That's what she's like.
it's overrated.
What do you want?
Don't file taxes. It's not worth it.
But, okay, all right.
That's cute.
So,
somebody please adopt this dog.
before I do.
Yeah.
That is, you know, in just sort of a mindfulness exercise in general, like even just kind of going beyond Buddhism, just like mindfulness in general, there's a technique where you basically observe your body and observe what's happening, your emotions, your thoughts, everything, as if you are an alien life form who just inhabited it and has no idea what a human is and is just learning, like, oh, this is what, you know, fear feels like. That doesn't feel great. This is what anxiety feels like. That's not so fun. Oh, this is what happiness. And like, if you approach it as if you are not a human, like you're just a
observer
observing it, you can gain a lot of insight, and that can also help to alleviate a lot of stress too, because that sort of removes you a bit more from the attaching to the self, where you feel like, I am this body, I am this whatever, this anxiety, this anger, this is mine, this is, or the fact that I don't like candy is me, like that is my thing, I'm never gonna like candy. Whereas if it's just like, okay, these taste buds don't like, or like there's no craving for candy here. Like, you know, you don't have to
attach yourself to that.
There's no need to use like I or me or whatever. You just say, there is no craving for candy here, or like, or there's tightness in this chest, or something like that. I've found that technique or that viewpoint, whatever you want to call it, to be helpful in a lot of situations. Yeah.
I think I just do it because I'm weird.
Yeah, that it could be that too.
Like I just. And man, I'm telling you, we've already talked about all of these to a lengthy extent running in Central Park, but that's what fascinates me about like politics. People get so attached to it, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat. And if you even challenge either one of them slightly, it's an attack on them, rather than, hey, maybe the economics of this system isn't really functional for this population, right? And if it doesn't help this population, then maybe it accidentally hurts this other population. And if you hurt that population, then it really hurts other people, right?
Yeah.
That's not a Republican, Democrat, independent viewpoint. That's just like
a human thing.
Yeah, you're observing the consequences of policy, blah, 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 historically, right? Like, hey, they tried this in 1960, here's what happened. They tried this in 1980, here's what happened. Let's formulate an idea of what works, what doesn't work, happy medium. Because it's rarely ever this works and this doesn't.
Right.
And this is right and this is wrong. It's never like that, right? It's always like, how can we get the needle to where we think it should go, right? And it's not black and white.
Yeah.
But yeah, literally not attaching yourself to an idea or an emotion or something that quote unquote would define you. Because I don't know if there's ever one thing that does define you, right?
Right. Yeah. Attaching to views is something that one of the hardest things not to do, but I think is very obviously strong right now in like today's political climate. But it really does, like if you think about it, cause again a lot of suffering for yourself and for others. Kind of like exactly for what you're saying is that it takes away the ability to have any sort of nuanced discussion about anything if you hear an opinion that immediately you take personally. And, you know, again, I'm saying that as someone who, like, it's hard for me too. It's hard to have discussions where, you know, I think for anyone, if certain beliefs or viewpoints are challenged, there's sort of like this, for most people, a knee-jerk reaction to take it personally and be like, oh, you're saying something that, you know, I don't agree with, and therefore this is a problem.
Yeah.
Whereas if you think about it, if we never attach to any sort of view, still hold a view, like have opinions, obviously, but like if you don't see it as part of your identity, then people could say whatever they want about it. And Marlene, come here.
Just don't pee on anything, and we're good.
Yes, good job. Then people could say whatever they want about know, that view, and you can disagree with them while not, you know, having that emotional, like, you know,
being
screw
offended.
The offended reaction. But it's hard, I mean, especially, and I think it's just harder and harder with social media and with the divisiveness of everything.
Yeah.
And when you live in a world run by clicks and you know, views, where money is gained by more views,
The more likes, more whatever followers, and
then you have the unfortunate consequence of news outlets or people on social media leaning into the sort of inflammatory language of things.
And at that point, it becomes more, for the most part, quantity over quality.
Yeah.
See, I told you my brain is very small.
You got there.
No, but yeah, and that's the trash. That's the sad part about society at the end of the day, right? And I think that this is where, one, stuff like Buddhism, where it's like, hey, surround yourself by people that you can talk things through, right? Like, hey, this guy said that, you know, Ronald Reagan was a bad president, so I shot him, right?
Yeah.
Was that a good thing that I did? You know, like, did I overreact?
Right.
Like, why did I react like that?
Right.
Or if somebody's like, on the other side, right? It's like, yeah, you know, somebody called Obama a Muslim, and, you know, I got him fired.
Yeah.
I just destroyed this man's life because I was offended. And it's like, well, hang on. If you got a good counsel around you, they're going to be like, are you okay? Like what's going on with you?
Right.
And it just kind of helps you check. But yeah, just detaching yourself from as much of everything as possible. In balance of still having a viewpoint. Yeah. Still having values.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people hear that. And we've had this conversation too, again, about Buddhism. And tell me if I'm bringing it up too much. I don't want to be like,
I love it. This is why I brought you in.
Yeah.
And I gave you the broken chairs.
A lot of people kind of hear these teachings or these aspects of it, of like detachment, of non-self, of, like, you know, not attaching to views, and it sounds very like nihilistic, or sounds like you're just sort of checking out from the world, and it's like, you know, it's not my problem. I'm just gonna go in a cave and meditate until I, you know, gain enlightenment. But it's so much. It's very different than that. It's so much more than that. It's not about retreating so much as it is just detaching from the aspects of everything that causes suffering. So you detach from the things that cause suffering, and that's not everything. If that makes sense. I feel like I'm getting a little rambly. But
what about detaching yourself from things that actually are good and that you enjoy?
I guess it depends what you mean by detach. I mean,
like, you just observe, right? Like, hey, I really like painting and
right.
art things, and I do it, but it doesn't define me, right?
Yeah.
So like when someone says, "Hey, that sticker you made was ugly and stupid,"
right.
I'm like,
yeah.
Okay.
Right, and I think that's where there's the difference between enjoying something and being attached to it. They're different things. Like people might hear that non-attachment thing and say, what does that mean, that I shouldn't love anyone? Like I shouldn't be attached to my partner or my parents or whatever. And that's not necessarily what non-attachment means. It means not clinging onto those things, and like you said, sort of combining it with your identity. Whereas like if you like to paint, you can enjoy painting and you can feel fulfilled by painting. You can feel good when people enjoy the paintings. But if you're attached to painting, then that's when you start getting, like, if someone says, you know, this painting looks like garbage, you feel that visceral, like you yourself are getting attacked, and you start to spiral. As opposed to if you're not attached to it, then it's sort of, like you said, it's just, oh yeah, you know, that's what this person thinks. I mean, you could still defend, but like you don't have to, you don't have to defend yourself.
Right.
There's nothing to defend, really.
They have an opinion on something.
Right.
And everyone has the right to have an opinion on something.
Right.
Whether you agree with it or not.
Yeah.
And I actually disagree with most of my friends on everything.
Yeah.
But I still love them.
Yeah.
And I love
You're
talking.
allowed.
And when people actually don't, I'll go back. I enjoy being uncomfortable. Like, not too uncomfortable, right?
Right.
But being challenged or questioned, I love that shit. Because then it makes me have to question what I believe in.
Yeah, that's where the growth happens.
Right.
Discomfort is where growth happens.
And so, I mean, you get a couple beers in me, we'll talk all night and yell at each other.
Yeah.
And it looks like I care, right? But
Right.
in reality, I'm just having fun.
Yeah.
I can do that completely sober too. I just won't be yelling, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
You won't sound as passionate. Yeah.
No, this president or whatever is better than the other president and whatever. Anyways, what was I going with that? Basically, being able to be detached, not care, but also being able to like care. Where was I?
Yeah. Well, I think you were saying you enjoy being uncomfortable. Yeah, and we were saying it's not necessarily about not caring; it's just about not attaching.
Right.
Because there's a difference. You can still care.
Yeah, and where I was going with that, thank you for the reminder.
Yeah.
Is when I do find myself in those situations where, even on the run, someone will say something and I'll be like, oh, well, I don't really agree with that. You know, like I think, you know, the New York Giants are better than the New York Jets. I don't typically put my stand out there, but rather I'll ask why, or like, what makes you say that, right?
Yeah.
So instead of saying, hey, the Giants are better than the Jets, oh, you think the Jets are better? Like, why is that?
Yeah.
And then that way I can be like, okay, maybe they know something that I don't, right? So now that's added information. And then two, if they say anything stupid, I'll just rub it in their face, you know? I'm just going to embarrass them, you know? Like, hurt their ego as much as possible.
Yeah, right.
No, but it really just comes down to like knowledge, and then maybe they'll say something that will trigger an idea, and then I can be like, oh, that's something I never thought about. Let me look into that.
Right.
And then maybe I can find even more information and be like, oh, maybe that is true. But did you know that this is also true about the Giants over the Jets?
Right.
So then it just adds, and I think that's, I remember I was in my third or fourth year of community college where I took like a class and we had to like debate, and literally one side just had their opening statement. We brought our end, and then they were like, all right, yeah, we give up. And the professor was like, look, the point of a debate is to bring new knowledge.
Yeah.
To bring new perspectives.
Right.
To literally just add to your library of assumptions, beliefs, facts, whatever it may be, opinions.
Yeah.
And he actually got pissed off because he was like, yeah, like you guys are not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I don't remember if it was that class or somewhere else where they were talking about the Romans. I think it was like a professional sport to like debate. Like they would just come together.
Yeah.
Crowds will come and people would just debate.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was born in the wrong era, man, because I love a good debate.
Yeah, well, yeah, you would have loved the Buddhist time because that's, I think that's also what they did around then is, especially in Asia, like some 2,500 years ago or whatever, it would just be people, you know, you'd have teachers of different philosophies and, you know, spiritual traditions going around and just debating with one another, trying to figure out who, you know, who has the right way of living, and people would follow these teachers as if, you know, the same way we follow whatever politics or movie stars, you know,
or
like
football team.
Or football team, yeah, they follow them, and because, you know, people were trying to just figure out, you know, what the hell is going on in the world. And, you know, so much so that I've mentioned before, there's another big teaching in Buddhism, the Kalama Sutta, where these people came to, there's these people in this certain region of India or wherever it was, where they get a lot of different teachers traveling through their land constantly. Just people just spewing out new ideologies, new, you know, this is how you should meditate. This is like how you should do yoga. This is this. You should sacrifice things here. You should do this and that, whatever. Because of where this place where these people were located, they just got a lot of them. And so when they encountered the Buddha, they were like, all right, you know, we get people coming through here all the time. They all have different teachings that contradict each other. Why should we believe you? You know, why should we listen to anything that you say when all these other people say these different things? And he said, don't believe me. Like, actually, I don't want you to believe me. I don't want you to take what I say as like a gospel. I don't want you to just hear it and then assume that it's true. One of the other sort of foundational aspects of Buddhism is that it's very much emphasized to see things for yourself before you take them as true. Everything that you hear, every teaching that you hear, you listen to it and then you say, okay, if it sort of resonates with you, if it's something that you want to put into practice, you then put it into practice and you see, does this bring me benefit or does it not? And if it brings you benefit, then you know that works. And if it doesn't, then you just sort of forget it.
Could you imagine if people thought like that today?
Oh man, it'd be so nice.
Instead of like having people that are like 15 years old already know everything.
Right. And yeah, it's hard because again, there's some natural instinctual thing within us to want to just believe something and like latch on it because it's so much easier to do that. You know, you hear something, it's like, okay, I believe that. That is what I identify with now. And
I think that goes back to the whole attachment thing, right?
Yeah.
Like once you learn something, it's like, it becomes like a part of you.
Right.
So if I believe that cars cannot go over 88 miles per hour without going back in time.
Yeah.
And someone's like, no, you idiot. You can go to 90 and not go back in time. I'd be like, I will fight you.
Right.
I will kick your fucking ass.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And just letting go of like, maybe, just maybe, you don't know everything.
Right.
Or beliefs such as going at 88 miles per hour, going back in time. Maybe they come from somewhere well, and maybe it's true in a movie.
Yeah.
So it's not wrong.
Yeah.
But there's more.
Right.
There's more. And people to be curious about like, whoa, is there more? You don't see that a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's what, I think it's a great thing, like you said, that you want to know the why when you hear someone else's conflicting opinion. Another superpower, I think. No, but I think that's a very mature thing that a lot of people lack that ability to, or they lack that desire to know why people have the views and opinions that they have. Most people just care about being right and expressing their opinion. To be able to hear something that contradicts what you either believe or what you think is true, and then recognize, like, okay, there's a reason this person has this opinion. Like, even even someone on the street spewing like racist comments, like, as you want to just be like, shut up, don't say that stuff. That's really
like, well, that guy's an idiot,
or just that guy's an idiot, or that guy's that guy's sick. But like, even that, like, there is a reason that they are in that state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that it's a good or a correct reason.
Not an excuse.
Not an excuse, but like, there's a reason. Like, whatever conditions happened in their life led to that, like, visceral need to say those things. And it's very, very hard, I think, for most people to recognize that. Because if you hear comments, especially if they're hateful or things that really go against the grain, your reaction is just like, that is bad, and we just have to squelch it entirely.
I know that we've probably gone longer than expected here, but I'll leave you with one kind of like final thought.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Daryl Davis? He's a musician. He's a jazz player. I think he's a jazz player.
It's not ringing a bell.
Daryl Davis, I only know because he's one of the few people where I'm like, damn, we need more like him. Mm-hmm. He is a musician, and he's like a large black dude. Mm-hmm. And he's converted, I think, over 200 people out of the KKK.
Oh, wow.
And the way he does it is to just talk to them.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
And they might be like, hey, F you, because you're not a white person in America.
Yeah.
But once he like says, oh, cool, tell me more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who does that, right?
Right. Well, it's like
him literally just being, oh, wow, you hate me, you don't even know me.
Yeah.
Expand on that.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, they become friends, and they're like, man, that was the most ignorant thing I ever fucking did in my life. And it's like, whoa. Could you imagine if we had more Daryl Davises out there? Right?
Yeah. Well, it's amazing what can happen if you just have a human interaction with someone rather than be locked into the belief. Yeah, I mean, that's amazing that Daryl Davis, you said his name, that he's able to do that, because, I mean, I think that takes a lot of self-control to be faced with such, extreme hate like that, and to be able to maintain composure and be like, hey, we're both humans, like, why don't you tell me why it is, you feel that way.
That's crazy.
That's a difficult thing, but if everybody did that,
why can't we all do
such a, it would be a much more peaceful place. But I think it's just, it just goes back to that attachment to the self.
And that's the thing, right? It's Alexander the Great. He was like, oh, we got to defeat these Persians, you know. They defeat the Persians give up, and he's just so self-determined to like keep going.
Yeah.
That he ignores everything else. Mm-hmm. Soldiers are ready to go home. Persians gave up.
Yeah.
Time to go home and enjoy our victory, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He writes up a fake letter from the Persians and starts distributing it to everyone and says, oh yeah, the Persians said they're going to come after us if we don't kill them all.
Wow.
So then everyone's like, oh yeah, I guess we haven't won after all. But it was just one person.
Yeah.
One person got hundreds of thousands of people
Yeah.
killed for no reason.
Well, yeah, sometimes that sort of hatred and anger is addicting, I guess. It's like you don't know what to do without it.
Right, and like right now, you got Trump goes to another country, somebody says something negative about him. What's more important, him or the good of the country? Well, for him, it's probably him, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So he'd be like, oh yeah, tariff on this,
Right.
tariff on that, we're gonna bomb this person because blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. And it's like, you're putting other lives at risk and livelihoods just because someone said something
Right,
bad
your feelings
about.
are hurt. Yeah, because you're so attached to yourself.
Talk about ego.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a whole other level.
But Dan, thank you.
Thank
I know
you.
I asked you to do this like a long time ago, and I'm sorry that the chairs are
No, it's fine.
falling apart here, you know?
No, it's good. You finally wore me down.
Yeah.
Marlene is ready to go, though.
Marlene, are
She
you not
wants her
enjoying
seat.
the empty apartment?
She wants her chance in the hot seat.
Come here.
Maybe next time.
Come here.
Marlene, you ready to go? Well, I
All right.
hope, I gave you some interesting
I'm
stuff.
telling you,
And,
we're going to record one day while we run.
Yeah.
Maybe not when it's 20 degrees
It's a
outside.
good breath control experiment.
I remember one time I was running with this guy, and we were talking the entire time. I'm sure I told you this. And then some guy was behind us the entire time.
Yeah.
And as soon as we finished the run, the guy behind us is like, guys, I could barely breathe running behind you, and you guys were having a full-on conversation. And I'm like,
Yeah.
look, when you get into a deep conversation, you forget about everything else, right?
Yeah.
Like I might be out of breath, I might be dying, but I'm
Right.
like, hang on, I got one more good point that I need to make,
Yeah, yeah.
and then I'll recognize that I'm dying.
Yeah,
right?
and when you're done, you realize you can't feel your legs.
Yeah. No, but thank you. I admire your wisdom, your calm,
I don't know. I'm still trying. I got to give a shout out to a lot of the stuff that I talk about. I got from Josh Korda from Dharma Punks. If anyone's like interested in any of that stuff, like kind of.
And what is that?
That's Josh is a sort of a modern Buddhist teacher who has a lot of knowledge about Buddhism, psychology, and neuroscience, and kind of ties it all together. Puts all of his talks up for free. You could check it out on Dharma Punks NYC. I'm not being paid or sponsored, but I just want to recognize him. Melissa McKay is another great teacher that I listen to. Joseph Goldstein. These names, if you're interested in any of that kind of stuff, and you want to hear where I plagiarized all of that I just said, check those people out.
That's how you build knowledge. You know, you steal and pick from people that are smarter than you, and then you turn it into your own, and then someone steals your stuff.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I am. Can you find them on YouTube and stuff like that?
Yeah, if you just search them, Google, YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, a lot of their stuff is up on there.
Good deal. Well, again, thank you for finally coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Twisted your arm enough.
I know. Well, yeah, we'll do the running talk sometime. That'd be fun.
When it's warmer and we're not out of breath and we're out of shape.
Once you